Larry Gonzales with your Mortgage Market Minute, talking about the week of 19 September, forever known as the week the Fed laid down the hammer. We're going to talk a little bit today about the Fed. They had their meeting this week. We're going to talk about existing home sales. We're going to talk about things that are going to totally derail everything that we're doing to bring rates down. Now, before I go on, let's first like, comment, subscribe. The Fed met on Wednesday. Actually, they met on Tuesday, and Fed Chair Powell, he laid the hammer down on Wednesday. And basically, he did what he said he was going to do. Did what he said. So the Fed raised the Fed funds rate by 75 basis points. No surprise there. Matter of fact, the market's already been taking all that into account. But why? And what the key, I think, really moving forward is, what are they going to do next? They're going to keep raising rates. They are focused on bringing inflation down to 2% come hell or high water. At the beginning of the year, we were at 0.25. Now we're at 3.25. They expect by the end of the year to be near 4.5% on the Fed funds rate. And they expect to keep Fed funds rate elevated until probably 2025. In their quest to bring inflation down to 2, there's a lot of things that they're fighting against. One of the biggest things is unemployment. Our unemployment is at near a 50-year low. All right, if you want a job, you can get it. All right, there's like 4 jobs available for every person. If somebody gets fired, they can go get a job somewhere else. Easy, boom, like that. So the Fed needs unemployment to go up. All right, they need us to feel pain. We got to stop spending money. You can't spend money if you don't have a job. All right, they need unemployment rate to go from about 3.5%, where it's at now, up to 4.5%, maybe even higher. And until they do that, they're going to have a hard time getting inflation down. Why? When you got all these jobs, you got all these companies that are competing for that one person. You got 4 companies competing for one person. What does that do? That jacks up your prices or your wages that you're going to offer to that one person who has an option between 4 different jobs. Wage inflation is going to keep going up. All right, that is one of the biggest things they're fighting against. One of the other things they said, their expectation for gross domestic product is it's going to be down 2022, 23, and 24. All right, so and we talk about being in a recession, and it's two consecutive quarters of negative GDP. We're kind of probably looking at 3 in a row right now, and we may not technically be in a recession because our unemployment is so low, and you hear the president bragging about, hey, everyone's got jobs. Yeah, bro, but inflation's at 8.5%. So what is going to happen now with interest rates? All right, let's talk about rates, baby. All right, let's talk about rates. Well, I tell you what, not much is going to happen with rates right now. All right, they're going to they may come down a little bit for maybe a week or so, but in order for rates to come down, we need inflation to come down. We have an inflation report, the PCE, that'll come out. Probably around, I can't remember the date, but I think it's next week the PCE comes out. All right, if that shows negative inflation or inflation decreasing, then we'll see some rates come down. But if it doesn't, well, I tell you what, we're going to see rates going up, and there isn't enough time for this 75 basis point hike to really take an effect. So really, we're looking into October before we see some meaningful movement with interest rates in either way. And I think right now we got to just kind of steel our minds that we're going to be right around, in the 5s, mid to high 5s for a while. And we're going to have to think about other ways to make houses affordable for our buyers, especially out here in Hawaii. What's going on with other housing reports this week? We have the existing home sales report. That came out today. For the 7th straight month, we had a decrease in existing home sales. But the good news was, like last couple of months, the existing home sales were like 4.7% lower than what was expected. They had a 4.7% decrease. This month, it was only a 0.4% decrease. That's actually pretty good, especially considering inventory is down. So it wasn't entirely bad news. It wasn't great news, but it wasn't entirely bad news. For the second month in a row, though, the median sales price of single-family homes across the nation was down, but still not by much. And housing supply inventory is actually up. All right, it's up through the months of supplies at 3.2 months. Last year, this time, it was at 2.6 months. But here's the other thing: the inventory hasn't changed from July to August. It was roughly the same. So inventory hasn't gone down, but I think we'll see that come down here, and it's not going to go up. All right, inventory is not going to go up because nobody. Where the hell are people going to move if they sell? They just. It's not like they got incredible interest rates right now. Most people who bought a home in the last 2-3 years, or in the last 20 years, if they refinance, if they weren't living under a rock, they've refinanced. They got incredibly low rates. All right, and remember, 40% of all homes don't even have a mortgage on them. So why is somebody going to sell a home when they know that they're going to get an interest rate of 5%? Okay, why is somebody going to refinance a home to take cash out and lose that 2.5% or whatever the rate is? That's almost not free money, but it's pretty damn close. All right, so supply is steady. Inventory isn't going to go up. Don't expect it to go up, and that is really going to keep home prices. It's going to keep home prices from dropping. People are saying, "Oh, the housing market's going to crash." Brother, it ain't going to crash. All right. Because there's just not enough homes, and there's a whole lot of home buyers out there. All right, so that's just not going to happen. So what was the makeup of these people who were buying homes? 29% of homes bought last month, or in August, first-time home buyers. All right, woo! All right, nearly 3 out of 10. However, I thought cash buyers were going away. No, not really. All right, nearly 25% of all purchases were cash purchases, cash money. All right, so still a lot of people with some money buying homes. 16% were investors. So kind of steady on the investors as well. There's still some good deals out there. A lot of people are still buying homes. All right, the problem is there just aren't that many. So what is going to derail the Fed's plan to bring inflation down? Again, they are hell-bent on 2%. All right, and that's a number. Everyone, that's a number on the wall. And even if they see that inflation is coming down, the indication from Chairman Powell is they're not going to stop until they get to it. They're not going to stop till 2%. And that could put a hurting on our economy. And any talk of a soft landing, forget about it. All right, not going to happen. What could derail this for the Fed? Putin, all right, his announcement yesterday or this morning kind of was overshadowed really by what the Fed chair. It was kind of funny. Fed Chair Powell kind of had a little more clout than Vlad Putin. Mr. Putin, he came out and said that he's going to mobilize. I don't know what that means. If he's going to conscript his entire country, if he's going to get remote-controlled sharks and go and attack Ukraine, I don't know what that means. And I don't mean to make light. Actually, I am kind of making light of him. But the dude's freaking crazy. That and the threat of nuclear action by him, that could derail any desire that we have for bringing inflation down. Why would you say that? They're in Europe, for crying out loud. It's all about supply chain. It's all about the cost of fuel, the cost of oil, the cost of gas. He could really throw a wrench into machinations of the Fed. And of course, China's an oddball too, because we still don't know when they're going to open up. They may open up. The indications are that they might. And those supply chain issues, we don't have any control over. That's kind of what China seems to be doing with regards to opening up their economy, not using a vaccine that works. They're using their knockoff made in China vaccine, which isn't really working. So we'll have to see. All right, the cost of fuel, the cost of oil, the cost of natural gas, that's all going to go up as we go into winter, especially if we are still dealing with Russia and Ukraine. It doesn't sound like they're going to stop anytime soon doing what they're doing, and it looks like Ukraine has they got their second wind, if you will. So it's not affordable. It really isn't. But there are tools. Now, here's the next question. How long are we going to be at 6% interest rates? All right, because we're probably going to be in that vicinity for a while. How long? Well, until inflation comes down. Is that a year? Is that 6 months? Probably. I think we're going to have inflation sticking around for a few more, 6 months to a year. But what if you could get that rate down to, say, maybe 4% or in the threes? Okay, all of a sudden, that $1 million home becomes affordable again. All right, and that's kind of one of the programs that we have at Alliant, and some other lenders have it too. Seller buy down, a 2-for-1 buy down. So you buy down using seller credit, buy down the rate by 2 points for 1 year for the first year, and then 1 point for the second year. So, for instance, say you had a loan that when you locked your loan, you locked it at 5.75%, but you had enough seller credit to do the seller buy down, and really $20,000 seller credit. That's pretty good. Buy down that first year, instead of having 5.75, you have 3.75. And then the second year, instead of having 5.75, you have 4.75. And then somewhere within those 2 years, you either sell the home or you refinance. And in most cases, I don't say in most cases, very good probability that rates will come down and you can refinance, and hopefully we'll be in the mid to low fours, maybe even high threes by then. So that I've done that with several clients, and I tell you what, that's making homes affordable. Otherwise, it's not. It is not affordable to buy $1 million home with a 6% interest rate. And I know, people go, yeah, but historically interest rates are about 6%. Yeah, but historically, $1.1 million is not the median sales price of a home in Hawaii. That's about all I got for you this week. I know I've kind of rambled on a little bit. A lot going on. We'll see what goes on next week. Got to put on a seatbelt, because guess what, baby? We are on a roller coaster of interest rates. All right. Have a great weekend. Aloha.